Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is Seven Ways Hollywood Wages War on Men. You're not crazy. Where we're
Yep.
going to be looking at the absolute state of men in media and some normie reactions to it, actually. Um,
Mm.
which,
Some
I mean,
ineffectual normie reactions, I would say.
what was that?
I would say they were ineffectual normie reactions. They're just the usual, this is a problem, so we should do more of the thing that creates the problem.
Oh, I'm not talking about the article. I'm talking
Oh,
about
okay.
Jester
Mr.
Bell,
Bell.
who made a video. I think she's like grasping at the problem.
Mhm.
I won't spoil anything for you guys because we're gonna see it on the video,
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, and what I'm saying is that it's getting to the point where normies are noticing. So
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't referring to Jester Bell either. Heads up, guys, just a bit of a spoiler. We are going to be responding to someone, but you should probably hold off the rage because she's groping towards an eventual conclusion that makes sense, shall we say. She's on the right path. So this isn't, we're not presenting another crazy feminist, which you might notice by the fact that she doesn't have crazy hair or makeup. But yeah, so the woman on screen that we shall have on screen, just stow the rage. Um, don't no friendly fire today, shall we say. Okay,
yeah,
so did you want to introduce, or did you already introduce it? Was that the introduction?
sure. No, I
Does it need
mean,
no introduction?
well, we have an article talking about it. You guys understand that, like, our media, our stories, our entertainment, they are important. They sort of like help shape our, like, it's like a language that we all speak. And they've been attacking men for a long time in that medium, to the point where there was a channel back when I started watching men's rights content called Misandry in the Media, and it was a pretty good channel. I don't know whatever happened to it, but the guy would show commercials and TV shows and stuff and movies. So these days, boys are left between choosing between identifying with morons, monsters, or nothing at all. And men have been portrayed as abusive, weak, or absent fathers, or lechers, or whatever, but certainly not aspirational, especially lately. And yeah, so we're going to be looking at an article here from the Telegraph that is actually starting to, like, recognize at least that people are really sick of this, and it's basically become like, I don't even want to say a cliche or a trope, because saying it's a cliche is kind of like giving it a pass, because you're saying, well, it's just overdone. But I think that it's just hostile. It's like anti-male propaganda in
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah.
It's and I think people are sick of it, and they just want, you know, um regular
Not it.
stories
Yeah.
that, yeah, that celebrate men when it's appropriate. And we're just not getting that. So with and I don't know, this is just something that I learned happened today, and I think this is part of the problem too. Do you know that Netflix recently bought Warner Brothers Studios?
No,
So
I did not.
yeah, Netflix owns Warner Brothers now, and I think
Hmm.
they're going to keep buying studios. So, like, there's only a small number of large studios. I think it's going to come down to two. Excuse me. It's going to be like Disney, and it's going to be Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Let me turn on the advanced scene switcher. And so what that means is creativity is going away, because
It's consolidating.
Netflix. Yeah, so, like, the reason why Netflix is crap, like, there's like these memes about the Netflix adaptations of stuff, is because unlike film, Netflix doesn't have to sell you on the movie. Like they don't have to get you hyped because the only thing that you need to validate them is to have a subscription. And so if you have a
Mhm.
subscription, even if it's for, let's say you have a subscription to watch something else, like some old movies that you want to watch that are on Netflix. Maybe you're really into, I don't know, all the Star Trek films or something. I mean, Paramount owns that, but whatever it is, you might like maybe there's just a bunch of old movies, or you want to watch reruns of Friends or something. And so you get a subscription for that, but Netflix, because you're giving them money, they use the money to make their own projects, and all their projects are like these, activist projects, where where you get all this feminist stuff. Do you remember when we watched uh The Mask You Live In?
Mhm.
That was a
Oh
Netflix
god,
thing.
that was like 10 years ago. Holy
Yeah.
man. Yeah, no, actually, it was like 9 years ago. We all got into the badger cave on the couch and we watched it, and it's one of the ones that got yeeted off of YouTube. Yeah, I remember. I think that was, the Michael Flood. He periodically floods into my
Michael
mentions,
Flood
and
and
it
Michael Kimmel were both in
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh, good lord, yes, the dynamic duo of dipshittery.
But
But
that's
yeah, that
exactly the kind of thing that gets on Netflix. That
mm,
and the other movie made by the same director called Misrepresentation.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, good
And there was
lord,
another
yes.
documentary that was on Netflix called Are All Men Pedophiles? Like, I'm serious. That's a real documentary they had on Netflix. So you get this, like Netflix, the people that work there, they have a worldview, and it comes out in all of the work. Now, originally, all they were was sort of what's the word I'm looking for? They were just sort of
Aggressive?
like middlemen, right? They just, oh,
Oh,
you
okay,
want to
alright, yeah.
watch, Big, then we'll put it on here. But now they make their own content. So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, you
um,
have to wade through that. They've inserted a middle. As middlemen, they've inserted a middle of ideologically corrupted content, shall we say.
yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. So it's just gonna get worse, guys.
Yeah, and
I
yeah, streaming is like theaters are probably gonna die. Like, I mean, they weren't doing well, but if the streaming service owns one of the largest studios in Hollywood, like Warner Brothers owns, all the Looney Tunes, all of DC Comics, all of Harry Potter, all of Lord of the Rings, all of Game of Thrones, like they own all of that. Warner Brothers, they own The Matrix, like they own all those major franchises. Um,
mhm,
and they're probably just going to keep growing, and they're not going to put stuff in theaters. But my point is that uh, this ideological rot is going to grow, and so,
mhm.
but people are not interested, or at least
In
there
it,
seems to be
yeah.
pushback. And I think the Telegraph is trying to address this by recognizing it. And I just want to point out before we get into this article that I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a prediction. I haven't read this yet. I want to make a prediction. Everything they're going to bring up, we've been talking about it for years, like at,
Yeah,
like
10
like at
years,
least
probably
10
longer.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, everything
that's
they're
what I'm
gonna bring up,
predicting.
but then they won't have our particular chutzpah
No,
of actually embracing the actual solution to the problem, which is to stop doing the problem. Because you'll notice that every time we have these articles, they'll say, "Oh yes, we men have this problem, boys have this problem, there's this problem, this," and then the end is, they all need to man up. Don't blame women,
yeah.
yo, and men need to man up. And
I
it's
guess
like,
the world's changing now. Men are losing power. Blah, blah,
yeah,
blah, blah.
some more
Yeah.
of the problem. They're just going to apply more of the problem, and they think that solves it because that's always solved something or other in the
Well, they
past.
get
So it
to
must,
say that they talked about it.
yeah,
That's
they get to say that they talked about.
well,
We
we talked
made
about it, but I guess.
an attempt was made.
All
An attempt was
right.
made.
So before we get into the article, why don't you do the things?
All right, so I'm going to do something a little different. For those of you who are long runners, you probably remembered this. If you are able, that is, you have the means to support Honey Badger Radio, but you're not currently doing so, could you just take a moment and think about why that is? And if you believe that we're saying things that need to be said, We're talking about things that need to be talked about, and we're doing it in a way that most people seem to be incapable of, which is we can stow the blaming of men and we can actually place some blame on women. It's possible we are able to do this fantastical thing. If you think that's important and you have the means, just ask yourself why you don't support, and please tell me the answer to that. Dig deep. Give me the real answer to that and send it to badger@feedthebadger.com. That's badger@feedthebadger.com. And if you ask yourself, well, why not? You ask yourself that question and the answer is, well, why don't I? Then you can go to feedthebadger.com/support and help us out. I have a little mini fundraiser that's going to fill in the gap because we've had a bit of a loss in subscription revenue just because of the times and also people's lifestyles change and stuff like that. But I would like to start to address it before it becomes a problem. And I know part of the reason why is because I haven't been doing a lot of effort into selling people on actually investing in this content and this concept. So if that sounds good, you've asked yourself and you're saying, well, I don't really have a reason. Why not? Then go to feedthebadger.com/support and help us out. And if you want to send a message at any time throughout the show, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Very best way for you to send us a tip. And if you so choose to send us a message attached to that tip, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. All right. So let's get into it.
Okay. So the Telegraph. Men portrayed as either frightening or pathetic in film and TV. Calls for a masculinity reset to provide boys with positive role models in popular culture. So now, okay, they're setting it up. Why is this
Mm-hmm.
happening? Because men they're basically not making as much money. That's what I think is going on. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. By Charles Hymas, Home Affairs editor. Men are being portrayed negatively in popular culture as either pathetic or frightening, most people believe. What
God.
people have
Most
it
people
have it in them to actually say that this is how other people feel.
Yeah. All right off the bat, that is the most mealy mouth statement. Why not just do an investigation on how men are portrayed in media and give us the real facts? Not this people think. Because the thing is that they can reframe it as the people are wrong and we need to correct them, as opposed to taking responsibility for how much of this bilge they have injected into the media landscape. Okay.
Yeah. Um, a poll of more than 2,000 people found that most believe that films, television, and adverts are failing to provide boys with proper role models, such as the strong, silent, but kindly hero of previous generations. You want to say anything to that right off the bat?
Uh, are failing to provide boys with proper role models. Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
obviously.
but
Yeah,
this is not
obviously.
just 2,000 people said. This is not just a bunch of hickey reprobates somewhere in Alabama. Cue the banjo twang. A bunch of idiots said this. No, this is an observation of fact, and we even have media executives saying that this is what they're doing. Right? This is an intentional thing that they're pursuing. I have my own experience. I go on Netflix and it keeps sucking me into Netflix. I have a Netflix subscription so I can complain about things on Netflix, but they keep
Mhm.
sucking me into things. I go on Netflix and and I also watch anime on Netflix, so I can, I
Yeah,
guess,
it's like I was saying before, like there might be like something genuinely good that you want to watch
yeah.
there's the stuff that Netflix makes for Netflix, and then there's the stuff that Netflix hosts for like people who are doing, like anime, like foreign films, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I apologize to everyone, but I do have a Netflix account, and like I said, I watch anime and I watch things, and then sometimes Netflix managed to pop up something that looks like it could be okay, right? Recently, it was Nero the Assassin, and they had like a an image of him as a main character. You doing the like Han Solo thing, like a dissolute sort of anti-hero, and I was like, okay, that looks like we could
Mhm.
have some adventures with this dude. And then I click on it, and first thing I noticed, and it's the first thing that sort of made me go, something stinks here, is that they had for the actual splash page of the video or the show this one-eyed female character, and I'm like, okay, who's what okay, what are the odds that this is going to be that was the decoy protagonist sucking people like me into this stupid. But I said, okay, maybe I'm being paranoid, maybe I'm slightly paranoid. So I watched 4 episodes of this, and every single man in it was a horrible shit stain of a person, except for the black dude who was a noble knight, and maybe the assassin, who's like a typical extremely dark anti-hero, but he's just on the edge of villainous, and you're like, and then maybe the priest, but the priest turned out to be tainted because he's willing to kill a kid. So it's like I'm like watching all this play out, and the woman that I saw on the splash screen, the one-eyed woman, ended up being a villain up to the 4th episode, when suddenly she switches to being in the right, and I'm like,
Like a
click down.
misunderstood,
Yeah, a
tragic
misunderstood, yeah, tragic
victim.
kind, nah, maybe, yeah, maybe probably victim. And then I'm like, yeah, yeet, no more. And I was
Yeah.
like, they sucked me into that. And then they did a Splinter Cell one where I got to see like this cool older spy guy doing spy stuff. And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, cool, this is gonna, like I can watch this and enjoy a male protagonist being awesome. That's all I freaking want. Just let's have some adventures. And then I got the rising fear because there's like a acceptably mocha female character who's just really, really awesome spy, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
God. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'm not gonna yeet this immediately. I'll watch the final episode. And I swear to God, the really cool older spy dude does nothing. He's absolutely useless in the final episode. So I'm like, nope, yeet. And they
Of
keep
course.
doing this. But Netflix keeps, and I think they know that audiences have this problem because they're framing these new releases in terms of, hey audience, hey lover of action heroes, somebody who really likes Han Solo and Indiana Jones and I don't know, maybe Rocky or all of these kinds of cool action heroes who did have a little bit of soul. They weren't completely invulnerable slabs of muscle. Luke and all of that.
No, they're most of them, most even the
Yeah,
ones that they claim were,
James
sort of
Bond.
two-dimensional action heroes were actually very interesting and complex characters that men
Yes,
appreciated.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're doing this thing. They're doing these splash pages, and they're like, you're a person who enjoys a swashbuckling hero. Look at this. And then they bait you into it. And Nero the Assassin has to be the most clever one, because they actually kept me on for 4 freaking episodes before they shoved their fucking flapping girl boss bullshit into my face. And I was like, but they're sucking you in. So they have to know that people are rejecting the shit they're presenting, because now they're putting like a skin of an actually interesting character on this girl boss slop. Like they're
Yep.
they're 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 throwing a hologram of an actual, like from Blade Runner for 2049, you have a hologram over the green slop that he was eating or whatever. Yeah, of a
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
meal.
yeah.
Yeah. That's what they're doing. They're throwing a hologram of an actually cool male character over the girl boss slop that they're offering.
Mhm.
And so they have to know that people are rejecting it, because now they're trying to disguise it. They're learning, but it's still
Yeah.
shit. It's still like I yeeted that, like I don't want to watch it. Right. And not only that, but I so don't want to watch this stuff that I've started to become irritated at classic more women action heroes like Ripley and Sarah Connor. Like I'm starting
Mhm.
to be like, I don't even know if I want to watch that. Go back
Yeah,
into
I
the
mean,
kitchen.
it has a yeah, it has a way of, like, corrupting
Everything
everything,
it
like, even
touches.
retroactively. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's I mean, you just have to appreciate it for what it was, but I think I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think you could I would argue that those movies were trying to be a bit feminist, but they were good enough movies that you just kind of like were like, okay. Like
There's a
it was
line.
still like a good story, right? Like in Terminator 2, everyone remembers in Terminator 2 when Sarah Connor and the Terminator and John Connor confront Miles Dyson, I think, the guy who ultimately will in the future create the Terminators and Skynet and
Mhm.
everything. And Sarah Connor gives him this like writes him the riot act, like gives him this speech about men like him built the atomic bomb and all that. And a lot of people bring that up. It's like, oh, see, like it was like, it was really bad. And it was like, yeah, but she's a crazy person in the movie. And like she was like on meds and stuff. But I get that there was a little bit of a nod to that, but I
Mhm.
think that if we I guess I'm just not in favor of letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. Like I think
Mhm.
overall, like that's a small thing. Terminator 2 is awesome. That part is a bit of an eye roll moment, and there's lots of eye roll moments in cinema and in television and in literature, probably like for as long as those things have existed. So some of it, I think, you can just sort of say, okay, like that's dumb because men didn't just make the atomic bomb and war, we also built like civilization, and modern
Mm.
conveniences and all of the things that we benefit from. And this kind of like this whole attitude is kind of weird, like this anti, I don't know, anti present day stuff because it's very much cherry picking things. But
Mhm.
anyway,
I think there might
um,
be I think there might be an error being thrown up. Okay, so yeah, there's an error. If
on
somebody
your
tried to
computer.
access, yeah, no, not on it's on WordPress. So it's an error accessing the actual like the mini funder. So I'm gonna have
Oh,
to fix that, guys. So,
all right. Should
all
I
right.
keep reading while you're doing that?
I'm not sure if I can see if I'm able to fix this. It's going to be very difficult with my cat making a nuisance of herself. There was something I wanted to add to what you had to say in terms of the historical, what's happening historically. Well, there's a shift that happened in depiction of female characters. So you have Ripley, you have Sarah Connor. You also have like a plethora of interesting female characters in science fiction. I'm thinking, for example, Mallory from C.J. Sherrill's Down Below Station. Like she was a really interesting character. However, what was different was that they were dealing with external forces, so they were being held to external standards, and they didn't imbue the moral arbitration of the story. So in other words, they weren't the ones acting and then also judging the worth of the acting of the actions taken. So in stories, you usually have somebody who's taking action, and then you have a standard that you judge that action by. Now, the classic would be like a shonen sports story. So that's an anime that covers like sports teams competing. And the external standard is of course winning the cup, right? The season cup or whatever, winning the finals, the game of the season. But if you
Winning the
have a
championship.
winning the championship, and if you have a more complicated, morally complicated story where things like actions have effects on a greater world, then you would have the people taking those actions, and then you would have something that reflects the worth of those actions. So you might have the town that needs to be saved, the world that needs to be prevented from being swallowed by the hell dimension or whatever. So you have this external stakes, and the external stakes would usually be embodied by vulnerable people being victimized by whatever the big bad is, not the the heroes themselves. So there's this separation between the heroes and what they save, right? And in a lot of new feminist fiction, There is no separation. So the woman is both the hero and the person whose the actions are judged by. So she's the hero and the one being saved, right? She is the hero and the one who judges her own heroic actions as appropriate or valuable. So women are both the heroic agent and the moral arbiters. It just, and when they do that, they collapse the narrative, the tension, the narrative tension to nothing, because it's like watching somebody who's playing a sport but also refereeing the sport and deciding when they're getting a goal and the only purpose of the opposite team is to cheer them on. So there's no narrative tension. So these former, I guess you could say, somewhat feminist characters were still playing by old narrative rules that you don't embody
Yeah.
the person taking action and the person judging that action in the same person ever.
Yeah.
Right? You don't do that because that kills any kind of tension. So they still had that in those stories, and that created interesting female characters. For example, one of the ways that CJ Sherrill is establishing stakes in Down Below Station is Mallory, who is part of this intergalactic war, has actually engaged in some very war crimey behavior towards a prisoner of war from the other side. And there is some contest over who gets ultimate custody of this guy, and she's done some very unsavory things to him. So part of the whole stakes of the story is whether or not he's going to be able to escape her, or whether or not he's going to be permanently damaged by what she did to him. So you can see that this is not the same thing that they do today at all. Even
Mm-hmm.
having a female character have her morality be judged by its effect on a male character, yeah, they don't do that. And they make much poorer stories because of it. All right, let's
Yeah.
do this thing.
Yeah, no, it is. That's what I'm saying. It is definitely different. That's the reason.
Yeah.
Okay. So instead, those questions say men are presented as either hapless, ineffectual people characterized by Daddy Pig from Peppa Pig, Homer Simpson, and Family Guy's Peter Griffin, or monstrous figures such as Jamie Dornan's serial killer Paul Spector in The Fall. I don't know what that is. Is this what is this? The Independent? The Telegraph? This is an English thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Okay, maybe The Fall is like some English show, because I don't watch anything anymore. Oh, it's a serial
Mm.
killer show, or serial thriller, sorry. All right. The study by Center for Social Justice calls for a masculinity reset. So the study by the Center for Social Justice calls for a masculinity reset in which male and female qualities are treated positively and equally by the mass media.
Mm.
I don't like that. This doesn't sound at all like it's encouraging creativity. So they got
Mm.
like some group. Let me see who the Center for Social Justice is. The Center for Social Justice, I'm just going to look it up, is an independent, award-winning, what is it? I'm curious about. Let me share this screen real quick. An independent, award-winning organization that puts social justice at the heart of British politics. The CSJ's is for those living in the poorest and most disadvantaged communities across Britain to be given any opportunity to flourish and reach their full potential. We bring this vision to life by seeking to influence the policies the government creates and the laws it makes, such that it does all it can to address the root causes of poverty. What? What does that have to do with men in media? Okay, so they have a men in culture publication. Let me see. CSJ's Lost Boys State of the Nation report launched a nationwide discussion on why so many boys are failing at school and dropping out of the workforce. It asked questions of how we mentor and role model young men, both in our homes and wider communities. It asked why so many men are dying young and filling our prisons. Okay. So I don't. Am I going too far afield? Should I go back to the article?
No, you're fine. Okay, so gave you all a link, and apparently well, that explains why nobody was putting anything through. Apparently you can't actually select an option. So I got to fix that. So I'll fix
Mm.
that, and then we'll do that over again at a future date. Um, if I can fix that, I might have to actually contact DreamHost and say something is wrong. What is going wrong? Please tell me. All right. So I'm gonna set that aside because I got to focus on this. But no, let's just get back to. I don't think that you went off topic too much. Let's get back to the article though.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I just want to. Okay. I mean, these are the people that are calling for change. So they're getting like an organization. It says it's independent, but it doesn't sound independent to me. To step in and say we need to have we need to call for a masculinity reset in which male and female qualities are treated positively and equally by the mass media. Now, of course, I guess it makes sense because Britain's media is government media, isn't it? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's BBC and stuff like that, and I believe that's a government organism. You guys let me know. I don't know how British media works, but that's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, okay. In Let's continue with the next paragraph. The research is part of the think tank's wider Lost Boys study. Oh, that was what I was just looking at, which published in its first report in March 2025. This found women and girls aged 16 to 24 in both white collar and blue collar jobs were earning nearly 10% more on average than their male peers. The number of males aged 16 to 24 who are not in education, employment, or training, that's
Okay.
NEETs, I guess, increased by 40% compared to just 7% of females since the pandemic.
Yeah. Well, we all said that we wanted this, right? We're all like, girl power. The future is female. Go girl boss. Let's give them female only scholarship and educational opportunities and also job opportunities. And suddenly women are earning more.
Mm-hmm.
That is what you wanted to have happen. Okay. This we are now we have arrived at the stated goal. Okay. We've arrived at the stated goal. And the only way to stop to continue from happening is we've got to stop it. Like we're doing something where I don't know, we're stacking bricks, right? We're stacking the girl power bricks, and we're stacking those bricks, and now we have a gigantic wall that boys are unable to get through. And then we're sitting there and we're saying, well, what do we do? How do we fix this? Well, you stop stacking girl power bricks. And in fact, you may want to consider pulling some of the bricks down, right? Getting rid of them. That's how you do. But that's not, I haven't read this article all the way through, but I suspect that's not going to be identified as a potential solution. Stop doing the thing that we're doing that's causing the problem is not going to be identified as a solution. Don't spoil it for me, Brian. I just have a
I don't know.
deep
I haven't read
suspicion.
it. I don't know. I haven't read
Oh,
it.
okay.
Um,
All right.
so I'm going
Actually,
in
the thing
blind
is,
too. I know it
oh,
exists.
okay.
That's all.
Yeah, I mean, when we conjecture these things, we often don't know. We're giving you the opportunity to test the predictive abilities, I guess. But I'm predicting that this never in this entire thing will they say, "Hey, there's a problem as a result of the things we're doing. Let's stop doing those things. Let's try that."
Yeah.
No, it's too obvious. It's a trap. Okay.
Okay. So,
The number of males aged
the
16 to
number of
24. I
males aged
interrupted you
16 to
there.
24 who are not in education, employment, or training increased by 40% compared to just 7% of females since the pandemic. The CSJ argues that a generation of young men are facing far worse outcomes than young women in education and beyond, falling further behind by virtually every yardstick, while changing social attitudes leave them feeling isolated.
Okay.
Okay.
Changing social attitudes. What attitudes have changed?
Yeah, I wonder what
Like,
that
really,
is.
what attitudes do have the attitudes around men's worth in relation to achievement and money, making money, have those changed? The answer is no, they have not changed. What's changed is we no longer, we are now we're actively privileging girls in those situations while handicapping boys, while still holding them to the same standard of the yesteryear. So while they are handicapped, these boys are still expected to take the lead in terms of protection and provision for girls. That social attitude hasn't changed. Everything else has changed, but that one hasn't. Boys are still expected to perform their role. They just get no assistance from nobody from doing so. We won't even tell girls, hey, maybe you should update what you desire in boys. Maybe you should make it a little bit less onerous in terms of protection and provision. No, no. And we're just going to add something that we didn't have in the past. You see, this is the thing. Like, there's nothing has changed about women's desires. They still want to be taken care of, but somehow they want men not to take care of them while not making them feel like they're being taken care of. Good luck. And that is the vaunted, what I keep hearing from women is that's the the emotional evolution that they want in men, that men have failed to achieve, which is to be able to provide fully for a woman, but make her feel independent at the same time. Why can't you do that, guys? Like, and we don't look at that and say, hey, maybe at some point we got to stop judging men by by living up to standards that are insane, and maybe judge women a little for not living up to standards that are actually quite reasonable. Like, but no, no, no. Let's keep doing the problem. Let's keep doing the things that create the problem. Surely that will fix the problem. Surely. Okay.
Yeah, it won't. And don't call me Shirley. Okay. So I thought I would look at, well, let me read more of this, but I think that it's interesting that they're calling for a kind of like think tank slash state intervention for a social problem.
Yeah.
That's that I'm just it just sounds like a, let's say like a placebo seeking a sickness, and the sickness is itself needs to be addressed a different way, but no one in the UK, apparently, at least not the government, wants to address it. So they're just changing the media around. It's like, okay, rearranging the furniture on the sinking Titanic, I guess, is what we're doing. But anyway, the phenomenon was highlighted by Adolescence, the award-winning drama that told the story of Jamie, a 13-year-old boy whose fall into the online misogynistic world of the so-called manosphere led to violence and murder of a girl. The poll found that three-fifths of people felt that the media tended to portray men at extremes as either wimpy or excessively masculine, not
Okay.
even
We should
masculine.
probably, I haven't been telling you this, but we should probably stop in between paragraphs. Okay. Adolescence was a complete fiction. Like, and I know it was fictional, but it was complete fiction at the same time. There was nothing factual in Adolescence. He came from the demographic least likely to engage in violence, right? Least likely. And I don't mean white. I mean, he had a father who cared about him. Like, that is not where the problem lies in society. It's not where the problem lies. The problem lies with another configuration of a family, which actually isn't something that's possible in the natural world, which is a single mother. Humans were not meant to be single mothers. That's why we're so useless at it. Like, it just doesn't work for us. And in the wild, there's no way a woman would even be able to get the nutritional quality, the nutritional amount to actually become fertile without an extended kin network. People don't know that. Like, it's actually extremely difficult to keep women in a condition where they are fertile. And there's probably a reason for it. And that reason is you don't have children outside of extended kin networks like we're doing. Right?
Mhm.
We don't have children without an involved father. And usually that doesn't work really well either. You usually need an involved father and his family to provide resources. But unfortunately, we don't have those natural conditions limiting how many fertile females there are. So we have this completely artificial scenario where kids are not being raised with sufficient social resources to actually attain a cognitive adulthood, like a real cognitive adulthood, pro-social cognitive adulthood. So instead, they remain morally immature. And then you get the high volume of murderers, rapists, thieves, general miscreants, and also radicals who want to destroy society, all from that lack of socialization, which single mother is. That's the primary harvest. That is the primary product of single mothers, is dysfunctional children. And no, I'm not going to qualify that. I'm tired of flattering women and making them feel good about themselves. This is a very toxic way of raising children. Now, if you had a man who married you and then was like, yes, let's have children, I will totally be part of those children's lives, and that man just disappeared like a fart in a hurricane someday, yeah, sure, I feel bad for you. How many single mothers does that apply to? How many single
Mhm.
mothers had somebody who didn't just say one day, like in a drunken fit, hey, I really like you, but actually was like, yes, let's go to the courtroom and sign on the dotted line. Let's make this official. Yes, I want children. I'm going to go out there and buy little baby booties with you. And then suddenly, I don't know, year 3, he just disappears. How many of you can say that? You are the ones who deserve sympathy. The rest of you chose. And the fact is that we are dealing with serious problems as a result of giving women this choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
All right.
not and celebrating no matter what they choose, right? So this
Yes.
is the thing I wanted to that I was gonna bring up what you brought
Ah,
up.
okay. Well, you will be
So
squeezed. All right, maybe
divorce
not.
rates in the UK are trending down, but they were,
Oops,
um
sorry. Oh.
what?
Oh, I accidentally poked her in the eye. Well, I mean, I had my thumb out like this, right? And
Mhm.
then she turned into it.
Yeah, so divorce rates are trending down. They were higher, but they've been trending downward. However, we know the fertility rate is down as well for, let's say, well, for the native British population, not the newcomers. And also, fatherlessness is a big problem in the UK as well. Um, there is the breakdown in family is a big problem. So, like, the thing is, you have boys growing up; they don't have a person in their life to model their let's say, behaviors on. They don't have a father that's involved. It also affects the girls too. They don't have a model to look at in other men.
Mhm.
And this is something that could be solved if, let's say, I don't know, they worked on shared custody or some other laws to sort of reform so that single moms are not as prevalent. And granted, in the UK, it's not as bad as it is in. I don't think it's as bad as it is in the US, for example. But it's still, I think, an issue that is creating these troubled kids, especially
Mhm.
boys,
Man
right?
deserts. Mhm.
Yeah, man deserts, exactly. And so, like, the thing that is interesting about this is that the show Adolescence takes the scenario that is the least likely to produce a murderous boy,
Yep.
and they make it the case. Like that, like it
Yep.
basically becomes, oh yeah, you want your son to like become a misogynistic red pillar and kill a girl in school? Well, put a father in the home. Like, they literally, the opposite is true. And that's interesting because the person who wrote that story could have picked any kind of family arrangement he wanted, and he chose that one.
Mhm.
And so like I think that the problem isn't even so much that I don't know, like there's only a few different archetypes of men, and yes, they're not positive. I mean, that is a problem. But maybe like just you're literally just creating, war propaganda against men in your
Mhm.
content. Like that show, which was showed in Parliament, and Keir Starmer talked about it, called it a documentary. The Prime Minister called it a documentary, said we got to act on this. Like that's propaganda actually doing what it's supposed to do, and then the government gets behind it like it's real. So like
Mhm.
this is like extremely anti-male and anti-family what's coming out here. And so
Mhm.
I don't see if the CSJ is saying that we need some balance, are they going to say like go out and make a statement saying that content like this is absolutely anti-male like 100%, this isn't even real, the truth is the opposite of this? Like,
Mhm.
you know? No, of course they're not.
Yeah. No, of course not. But I will, I for whatever reason that particular fundraiser is not working, but please go to feedthebadger.com/just the tip and send us a tip. Come on, guys, send us a message. We want to hear your interesting
I
thoughts.
did get
They're
one.
very interesting. Oh, we
I just
do.
got one.
Oh,
Yep,
cool.
Albatross, thank you, Albatross, just gave us $5 and says, these media depictions will never change until a large portion of people see that much of critical intersectional theory is anti-male and anti-relationship and anti-heteronormativity. They're trying to fix the problem without actually addressing what's where these attitudes come from. Yeah, well, they're not what they're doing now. I think what they're going to call for is another prediction I'm making based on
Oh,
how
hey.
far I've read into this article. They're basically saying, well, we do a lot of you know, anti-male propaganda. We need more fairness. How about we do like some neutral male propaganda? Maybe not all the men are bad. Maybe some of the poor men, the gay men, the black men, maybe those guys will be better guys because they've already been doing that. Even though a lot of times those men end up getting shit on for a different reason. So maybe they're just gonna like pump the brakes a bit, but I don't think they're going to actually say, none of this is authentic. That's the problem with it. Like none of it feels real, like
Mhm.
stories can be untrue, not like fictional in terms of like their actual, like I don't know, realism, but can say something true about like us, about our lived experience as humans. And these don't do either of those things. They're just agitprop. So
Yes, exactly. Um, all right, so I want to give a big thank you to Ajax because he managed to get through. I don't know how he did it, but he managed to get to the actual fundraiser and put something
cool.
through. Congratulations. Not only did you give us $25, you also managed to navigate my mess. So thank you. Double kudos to you, Ajax. You certainly live up to your name. Um so yeah, that and I guess we'll read a bit more. Or
All right.
I could yeah, read a bit more.
A similar 57% said that the male role models in popular culture were less masculine than those in past generations. Two-thirds said that boys lacked proper role models across popular culture. So, yes. I mean, I think that, like, first of all, in a way, we don't have the same stars that we used to have. Like, we have, like, today, we have, like, what, Ryan Gosling, Chris Pratt, and these MCU guys, Chris Helmsworth, Chris
Mhm.
Evans, the Chris's. Um,
Chris Pratt's cool, I think, though.
right. I like Chris Pratt, but the thing is, he's more of a comedy guy.
Mhm.
He was always a comedy guy. He just happened to be like getting good shape for a movie, and so they were like, "You're an action guy now." But a lot of these guys are not the greatest actors, or they're getting really old. So like when I was growing up, like the people that people like Bruce Willis and Kurt Russell and Schwarzenegger and Stallone, they were like really charming though, right? And also like every guy who played James Bond, which of course they've this is another thing. This is the UK, right? They have just thrown James Bond out completely I don't even blame Daniel Craig. It wasn't his fault, and they just hated him. And so they got rid of it. It was like the one guy that they had, and they won't tell good stories about like some of the rich cultural properties that England has, like Robin Hood or King Arthur and his knights, Sherlock Holmes. Like everything's been distorted. They've done like Robin Hood of different versions, but it's not authentic. Like it's just some weird, I don't know, copy or parody. And those stories, I think boys like they draw from that stuff. So I
Mhm.
don't know. But
Yeah.
like yeah, I think it's true. I think the attack on James Bond is a big one though. That was like he was an icon for the UK. So
Okay.
all right. I got a rumble rant, sorry. Rumble rant from
Cool. Rumble rant.
NovaFan21. Yeah,
Awesome.
and he says it's the UK. They would rather throw their own men under the bus while letting their women get raped by the third world and then play dumb when it's too late. Rumble hates grape without the G. Thank you, NovaFan. Um, appreciate the rumble rant. Okay. Let me see. The poll found that. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I already read that part. A similar 57% said that male role models in popular culture. Well, no, I already read that part too. Sorry. When asked an open-ended question about which characteristics they would enjoy seeing in male characters on film and TV, 57% said, honestly, respect and family values, substantially higher than any other attribute. So, okay. So they polled people and they wanted family values in their shows.
Well, you're not going to get it because that would require actual fathers, and
Yeah,
fathers
right.
are patriarchy.
So
You
they
didn't think
so
it
like
was. You didn't think that people didn't think that when feminists went after fathers or patriarchy, they actually meant fathers. Like that was the end game, guys. No fathers.
mhm.
All right. So
Isn't it
yeah,
isn't
that
it interesting that they go after like this kind of like, extra machismo like I don't know, muscle action dudes that smoke cigars and explode buildings and walk away cool. And they think that's what they're attacking. But when they ask people what they want, they're just like, yeah, I'd like a dad in the
mhm.
story. And a lot of these action hero guys I just like talked about were dads. Like you
Yeah.
Die Hard, a Christmas movie, by the way. Um, Bruce Willis's character is a father, and he's basically just going through a separation in the movie. And at the end, he gets back with his wife. Um, that's like the heart of the story. So like they attack a cardboard stand-up straw man
Yeah.
of what they think men like, and it turns out that men just want to see involved dads.
Yeah.
So and family values, right?
Mhm.
I don't know. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
no, it is. It is interesting.
Mhm.
But that's the problem. In order to have family values and that kind of masculinity, you actually have to have a father in your story. And guess what? They're not going to do.
Yeah. Also, they want
They don't.
honesty and respect too. And that's another thing that
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of modern media has. It's kind of like what men like to see, like,
Yeah.
uh, a sense of honor, merit, hierarchy to some degree in the story. And they don't get that. Like that, you know what the hot show is right now? I don't know how popular it is, but there's this show with Kim Kardashian in it. Have you heard about this?
Mhm. No,
Have
I
you heard
have
about it?
not.
Oh,
I don't
it's
follow.
it's
Yeah.
it's bad. Like, I forget, I think it's called All's Fair, and it's like a bunch of girl boss lawyer women that they basically the whole show is women just backbiting each other and like, blackmailing each other and like just like screwing each other over. It's like Mean Girls, but like high flying, like
Corporate
insane. I
lawyers.
haven't
Yeah.
watched it. It's on Hulu, which unsurprisingly is Hulu is owned by Disney. But it's like the most it's like the most unlikable evil women, and they're just going and they're the main characters of this, and all the men are like scumbags, just like
Mhm.
completely worthless. And that's like men don't want to watch that. men men want to watch stories with like Shogun. That was the last big thing I got into.
Yeah,
So
Shogun was good. And that
yeah,
actually, interestingly enough, you could argue that they made the one woman samurai, like from the
she was
samurai
cool.
class. Yeah,
Yeah,
but they made her more of the protagonist, but it worked because again, she was fighting for something larger than herself,
yeah.
and she was willing to sacrifice for it, for her lord. So that's not what you're allowed to do in Western, like in a lot of Western fiction. So she was an interesting character just because of how far she took her loyalty to her lord. And and yeah, and the dynamic between the two. But but it was a really good movie because of that, because they didn't make her both the ultra powerful
No, no, no.
heroic actor and the moral arbiter. Yeah,
No,
no,
not at
no,
all, not at all.
no,
She was a
and
very complex character that had
very
her own
believable.
agenda. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
All the
let's
characters
finish
were
this
like
article
that.
off. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
okay.
were. They were all, and they even made the guy who was dealing with, I think, PTSD, but he was also very abusive. Like he was explosively abusive.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, they even made him sympathetic, which was
Yeah,
really interesting.
he was the husband,
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
woman, but, like, it
and it
was
was
an arranged thing. Yeah, that guy.
he was an
He
arranged
was
marriage.
badass. I thought he was gonna be a rival, but he turned out to be very likable,
Yeah,
despite his flaws.
yeah. Well, but there was also a strong implication that his flaws were as a result of post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yeah, yeah, for
Like
sure.
he was struggling with some stuff, but he was, yeah, he was very sympathetic, and I think there are some scenes with him that people misinterpret entirely. But that is off topic. So let's get it
Digression,
back on
okay.
topic. Yeah,
When
digression.
asked an open-ended question, no, I read that. David Gandy, one of the world's most successful male models, said, "I noticed when my daughter started watching Peppa Pig how the father is treated like a bungling fool who gets it wrong, while the mom gets everything right." I've never seen Peppa Pig, but I don't. I'm not, and it's sad because this is like a kids show, right? So
Hmm.
this is how early they put this stuff in. I don't think it was like
Yeah.
I remember in the past. Hell, even Steven Universe, I think the dad on there wasn't garbage. But
Hmm.
yeah. All right. I like to empower my girls and teach them about powerful women and what they have achieved, but men are just as important and we have to shout about what's being achieved by them too. Wow, very safe answer. But first of all, guys, allow me to do a land acknowledgement. Women are awesome. They're great. I have a couple of I think women are the bee's knees. But do you mind if we also kind of treat men a little better? That's okay. But women though, women, I know we gotta wait. I know they got a lot of problems. We got to address that. We got to talk about it constantly. As a matter of fact, even now, as I'm talking about men, I'm going to talk about women a little bit just so that we're all clear. I don't hate them. Okay. All right. Women are awesome. Let's also talk about men, but women are awesome. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
just
they're
so
not.
annoyed with that. I know that he's just being like, again, I think it's not even fear. I think it's just people are just programmed to have that reaction. Like they just just go into, like the programming just says acknowledge women first, and then you can get to the thing you want to talk about, you know?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And also women are not awesome.
No. No.
I'm just gonna sit here and just not qualify that. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm just gonna sit here and stare and just make everyone feel uncomfortable. I just gonna
Yeah.
do it. I could just feel everyone cringing right now. All right, let's move on.
All right. Baroness Nikki Morgan, the former culture secretary and new chair of the Advertising Standards Authority, said, quote, "If people only ever hear about misogyny, sexual assaults, and violence by men towards women, no doubt it's going to affect how boys are seen." Are you kidding? Have you considered that? Have you guys considered that? That then people might start perceiving people a certain way if you keep telling them this?
I have a solution for you. Of course, it doesn't work in the UK because you've got like uh, archaic laws around rape.
Yeah,
You
you
could just
literally, yeah, there's that. Yeah.
you could just be transparent and tell everyone about how high the rate of women and girls engaging in sexual assault actually is. Right? You could actually accept those numbers, right? Because it is, let me put it this way, it is impossible for the CDC, that is the Center of Disease Control, to find 3 years in a row parity in sexual assault victimization with significant amounts of that victimization done by women to men. It is impossible for that to have happened and there to be an actual significant asymmetry in perpetration between men and women. It's impossible. This reality is one in which men and women perpetrate sexual assault at roughly the same amounts on the opposite sex. That is reality. That is the reality we live in. What you guys could do is acknowledge that, stop pushing ideological science, and then boys won't feel like they're singled out. And we would actually be embracing a truth about our natures. But you're not going to do that because making boys scapegoats makes you money, which is why we're at where we're at. Okay.
Mhm. All right.
Oh, I wanted
How
to give a thank you to somebody.
Oh,
I
yeah.
forgot.
Go ahead.
Spiky Helmet Badger has put $50 through. So thank you, Spiky Helmet Badger.
Thank you, Spiky Helmet Badger.
You can call him Spiky.
Spiky. Thank you, Spiky. Maybe I'll just call him Helmet. How people are portrayed in the media undoubtedly shapes society's view of them. The challenge has been getting online platforms to accept they are publishers with responsibility for content in a way that TV, radio, cinema, newspapers, and magazines accepted decades ago. The challenge is getting online platforms to accept they are publishers with responsibility. See, I don't know. There's something about this whole ministry of media thing. I don't like it, even if they're claiming that they want to give us something that I'm in favor of. I really just want people to do it organically,
Yeah.
and I think that it's actually got more, let's say, staying power if it does come from the bottom up, from people
Yeah.
who,
Yeah.
like, genuinely make content that's, that because they wanna make it, because they think it's good, because they like the authenticity of whatever the story is, whether it is, I don't know, like, I don't even wanna say pro male, just kind of like aspirational, or something, like something inspiring. Um, I don't think that you can get that from a bureaucracy. That's my only issue with that.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Okay. So I want, again, thank you, Spiky, for getting through that maze. I can actually give you a link that you can put in the low bar. So if you guys want to go directly to it, it is keep dash Alison dash sane. Oh, so I actually feedthebadger.com/projects/keep dash Alison dash sane. And I'll give Brian the link too. And thank you to
Yeah, put it
Spiky
in.
and
I'm ready.
Ajax. Yes, thank you to Spicy and Ajax. I know Spicy, Spicy Ajax. Thank you. You guys went the over and above there, over and above to try to locate the place to put the funds in. All
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I just sent it to you. So I think
I
Brian's gonna
got it.
put
I
it in
put
the
it
low
in.
bar.
I put
Yeah,
it
good.
in. It's
All
in.
right.
You just gotta refresh, and it'll be there if you
Yeah,
want to
I'll
see
also
it.
put
All
it
right.
in the chat there.
Yep, I got it. It's in.
Okay.
It's in the
Yeah,
low bar.
it's in the chat.
Oh, okay, I see it. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I won't bother putting it in the special chat because you guys are
All
too
right.
special for that.
I don't
Okay.
know if there's anybody in there. Let me
Nah,
see. Oh
there's
yeah,
about
there's
3
some
people.
people in there. Yeah.
There's only a few people. For some reason,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube has decided that it doesn't want to make us viral anymore or whatever it
Mm.
was doing before.
Well, sometimes it happens. You just don't know. So
Yeah,
it's.
it's just
I guess
like
it's still worth
lightning.
doing.
Yeah.
What?
It's just like it hits like lightning. Like you just like, oh, okay. Well, today your show is going to be super popular for no apparent reason that you can
Yeah.
ever actually reverse engineer into anything. The algorithm
All right.
god has blessed you. Bless you, my child. You shall have some short popularity. Okay,
All
let's
right.
go.
So, no, it's fine. Neil Brand, a playwright, composer of film scores, and radio for film critics, said, quote, "There is a sense that men and boys are growing up with a society that is disempowering them. I think cinema has led this charge, even if it's only reflecting what society is doing." Okay, yeah, I think that's some people say this is like ever since Me Too or whatever. I think that it is the cinema or like our culture is trying to reflect what it thinks is happening in the real world, but I think it's actually perpetuating it.
Mm,
And they get it from, what they learn in their when they go to film school, they learn it from their teachers. They get it from the media that they're kind of like trying to like take inspiration from. Like if I grew up and I loved Mary Tyler Moore and Mary Tyler Moore was a big old feminist in her day, but I'm gonna emulate her because she's my hero or whatever it is, right? So it's kind of like a self-perpetuating machine. And so it's hard, it's like a chicken or an egg argument in a way. But yeah, it's been going on for a while. Um Okay. Feminism and the hashtag Me Too movement of the past 20 or 30 years has been incredibly important and necessary. Here's more of that land acknowledgement.
yeah, I just like it's like, oh, the last time that feminists stabbed men, that was absolutely important and necessary, right? And then
Yeah, right.
feminists
Yeah.
stab men again, and then instantly they go that um what's the next hashtag? Men dead was absolutely necessary. It was absolutely necessary to tell all men that they should all be dead and the world would be better off. But can we stop now? Can feminists stop stabbing men now? Men should have been dead yesterday. It was absolutely necessary, but men's
I don't
remains
even
should be
think he's saying we should
annihilated
stop.
and
I'm not even
eject.
sure that he's
No,
saying that.
no, he's not saying that.
Mm-mm.
These individuals who say the last time that feminists stabbed men was absolutely necessary are going to say the same thing. And even if they say, well, but feminism should stop now, right? This is going. It's too far. The next time feminism goes even further, what are they going to say, guys? They're going to say that was absolutely necessary, but let's not go any further. And then when feminism goes a step further, they're going to say that step was absolutely necessary, but let's not go any further. And then when feminism goes a step further, what are they going to say? That step was absolutely necessary, but let's not go any further. So they're always caping for feminists. Even though people who say that they're criticizing feminists, they're caping for feminists because they're
Mhm.
always signing off on the last thing that feminists did. Me too. Oh, that might have been that was good. That was important. That was vital. Really? Was it? It wasn't. Not if it didn't include an acknowledgement of how much sexual harassment and abuse women were also doing. Right? That's the story. That's the conversation we need to have right now. That wasn't being had, was it? It was just another way of scapegoating men and boys to make money, which these people who are part of these feminist NGOs are openly admitting. They're openly admitting that this narrative makes them money. They're saying it. And then these people are signing off on it. Like the feminist NGOs are like out there saying things like, "Yeah, it's a good year. It's a good year for our wallets. Good year, good crop of Me Too accusations." And people like this are like, "Oh yeah, that was really important. It was really important that those feminist NGO board members get their $1 million freaking kickbacks from all their NGOs that they're part of. That was really important." And then the woman on the ground has a worse time in business, but it was really important to do that. Really important. And men are suffering, of course. Everyone is suffering. But it was really important to make sure feminist NGOs, CEOs of NGOs got their money at the end of the year. That was really important. That was,
Mhm.
yeah, feel edified. Okay.
All right. What it has meant is that the less able and less socially responsible writers and filmmakers have gone for the obvious story. If you're talking about women being empowered, which is that the men have to lose that power and that the balance can't be struck between the two.
Well, yeah, duh. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like this guy.
but here's the thing. Yes, you're going to have to take, well, power away from men, or at least you're going to have to take positive regard in media away from men to make women look better by comparison, because you're always wanting to make women look better by comparison. Like anything you can sacrifice of men, you put on women, because that's the point. Everything is judged by supposedly benefiting women, even if it doesn't, according to feminist conjecture of what benefits women, right? Even if it doesn't benefit women, we're going to do that because it makes women look better relative to men. So ultimately, you're going to sacrifice everything, every positive depiction of men in service of raising women up. That's what's going to happen. That's what we chose to do. And that is what we have done. Oh, okay. And
Yep.
then the last line is just, okay. If you had
Somehow
anything
or
you
other,
wanted,
it requires shitty men for women to be shown achieving what it is they should be achieving. What? Oh, I
it's,
see. So he's saying that we can like empower women without shitting on men. Um,
no,
but that's
you
but that's
can't,
not what
because
we've been doing.
anything that you give men is something you could have given women, right? Let's imagine like we're in a fantasy epic and the man gets the green sword of ultimate truth. Well, that's wrong, because it could have been given to a woman. Your man has this particular skill set. Well, that's wrong, because it could have been given to a woman. A man fulfills a particular role. Well, that's wrong. It could have been given to a woman. That's how it works. Everything goes to women. What does that leave men? Being nothing, being an idiot, or being the villain.
Yep.
Right? That's if everything goes to women. And that's the thing. Like, it's, if you want to show women being the future, if you want to show women being the sex that's unencumbered by human evil, because, toxic masculinity is basically just human evil and only men do it, right? If you want to show women as the superior sex, there has to be an inferior sex. So what the hell is he talking about? Like, you cannot empower women in this way without making men inferior. But the next thing that feminists insist have to be taken from men, that's okay. But the thing after that, that's where we're gonna be drawing the line. For real this time, guys. We're not just gonna sign off on the next thing that feminists do. We're for real gonna draw the line this far and no further.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the end of that article. So yeah, no solutions are offered. And even when I went to the website and I looked at the that group Center for Social Justice, and all they said was basically what this
We don't
article
need
said, but
another government
shorter.
body.
They're just like, well, I guess this is a thing we should probably look at. We're gonna look into it. That's what that's where they are right now. We'll look into
Get
that.
everybody. Give them 200 million or 20 million, and they'll look into it and they'll write up a report and they'll put it on the desk of a policymaker, a politician. And that politician will look at it and say, I looked at that and an attempt was
Yes.
made.
Yeah.
An attempt was made. Or you could support us and we will do whatever we can to try to grassroots this sucker. All right.
Yep.
Let's do Jester Bell.
Yeah, let's look at Jester Bell. So there's only like a little. I
But it's
like Jester
positive.
Bell. There's
It's
only a
positive.
few. What?
It's positive because she's a normie and she's getting it. She just
Yes.
doesn't, I don't think she has like I don't, she's not like us, you know. We've been in the trenches for how long? We've got our PTSD has PTSD. We've been fighting this for a long time and we know what it takes to actually change this situation. I don't think normies
Mm.
know. For example, you can't keep giving feminists infinite passes to do whatever the hell they want.
Yep.
And that starts by questioning everything they said from the very start, which I can tell you is wrong. Feminist premises were wrong from the very start. All right. I'm not saying anything about women going into the workplace because, let's be frank, women have always been in the workplace. I'm not going to say anything about that. I'm not going to say anything about women's influence on the political landscape, because women have always had influence on politics, even before the vote. They had significant influence on politics, right? I'm not going to say any of that stuff because it's irrelevant. What's relevant is feminism proposed a particular arrangement of the sexes, a relationship between the sexes, which was absolutely degrading and wrong. Men don't oppress women, and they've never oppressed women. Men actually have instincts to provide and protect for women. And it's those instincts that feminists are manipulating with their rhetoric, which has never, ever passed any level of scrutiny, any level of evidentiary or logical scrutiny. Their premises were never proven before they were just assumed true. And they don't pass any basic tests of scientific, like veracity, of scientific correctness. They don't predict anything. In fact, they have negative predictive value. They don't explain anything, right? They don't, the evidence isn't there. It's contradictory and it's thin, if it is even there. They have to actually cherry pick. So it's an entire edifice of corruption. That's what I'm taking aim at. Like, you don't even have to talk about women having say in the political process. Or what do you think prohibition was? Women didn't have the vote and they pushed prohibition. They created policy, right? They always had a say in it and they always worked and they were always materially providing for their families. So all of that is a red herring. Feminism has nothing to do with that. Feminism has always been and is solely a way of framing the sexes and their relationship in a way that benefits feminism. Not women, not men, just feminism. And by feminism, I mean all those aforementioned CEOs of non-governmental organizations that all seem to be on each other's boards, taking about 40, 50,000 a year from each other's boards, right? Like that nest of nepotism. That's what this benefits. Okay, and it's good to see normies waking up to it. But like I said, I don't think they have the chops. Like, they don't know the level of fight you have to actually turn this tide. Okay.
Well, yeah, but I mean, again, like you're talking about people who this is not something that they were even thinking about. They
Yeah.
were just like, I'm just watching my movies and making videos about things I like. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
noticing a pattern, you know, after like failure after failure after failure. And I see the same things going on. And I'm like, what's going on here? What is this? And so they start to talk about that. And I don't have, I mean, I encourage it. I'm like, well, this is great. Like,
Yeah, no, I encourage
like,
it 100%.
again, she's not going to say everything you guys think she should say, but you're
No.
being ridiculous if you think that she should be saying exactly what you believe, because she's a normal person that hasn't been doing this for 10 years. She's
Yeah,
just
no.
a comic book fan. She's just a video game nerd that just saw this and is like, what? And of course, when she started talking, she's been talking about these things for a little while. Whenever she does, she gets lambasted in her comments by
Yes.
actual ideologues that are like, no, you can't, you sound like one of those
Oh,
red
you
pill
can't do it.
manosphere
You can't do
guys.
it.
What are you, turning into a chud? And you guys have to be like supportive of this. Like, when these
Yeah.
people do this, you have to show them, look, you're going to get a lot of hate. You're going to get a lot of pushback because you're going into territory that is going to lose you friends, because you are
Yes.
exploring a concept that is very unpopular. And I
And
want to encourage you to continue to do that, because if you keep going down this road, you're going to piss people off. You know, people who have money to lose, people whose entire worldview remember in the Matrix when Morpheus told Neo that if you're not one of us, you're one of them. And I know that sounds like a friend enemy distinction, and we're not supposed to do that, but he's saying that there are people who are not ready to be unplugged, and they will
Yeah.
react hostile if you like show them that basically they have like at least part of their worldview is a lie, and they're
Mhm.
going to become aggressive. And you know what? You have to understand that, and you have to be sympathetic to that, because you can't change that. And
Yeah.
so like what you do is you say, look, I hope you figure this out, whatever, right? And just remain, I don't know, like with love in your heart for those people, because that's what you're going to get. And I think that, with
Oh my
I
god.
mean,
Yeah,
what?
no, I 100%, yes. What I meant is that she's on the path, but it's a
I know you're
hard
not
path.
attacking her. I'm just
It is
explaining
a
because
hard path.
she's going to talk about this stuff, and she's going to say stuff that's going to piss people off, because she's
Mhm.
still,
Contending with
like
it.
contending with it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it's just a hard path. And then you really have to accept that people are gonna get pissed at you. And
Yeah.
you just hold on, screw your courage to the sticking plate, which I don't even understand what the hell that means. But anyway, hold on to your moral courage and don't forget that you're on the side of right, because this is all nonsense. All of it. You don't sacrifice men to benefit women. That's not how it works, friends. Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So first, I guess I'll just let her do the intro.
Hello, everyone. Gesture Bell is here,
Ooh,
aka.
echo, echo, sir, echo.
Do you have echo?
Yeah,
Oh,
echo,
maybe.
sir.
Oh, I think okay.
Yeah.
Joe Baggins. And this year I've done a handful
Still
of
echo.
videos
Still
talking
echo.
about the
What's going on?
depiction of.
Let me put my headphones on. I don't know why this one is like reverberating.
Hmm.
But this will be better,
Yeah.
and you won't
Headphone.
hear it.
Okay. I
Okay.
noticed that Tangled has found the
Mainstream
horizontal
chat.
chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna be a little bit more outnumbered there, Tangled. So good luck to you. All
Well, he's
right,
gonna
let's
see it as like he's like one of the 300 Spartans, so that's all
yeah.
right. He doesn't
Everybody
like
needs a
all he
heroic
does is
narrative.
like insult people and doesn't actually make arguments. So
Yeah, I
okay.
have noticed that.
Yeah.
Men in movies, the negative depiction. Back in late September, I did a big video just really lambasting it more than ever before, especially with the release of Tron Ares and doing the male character, the lead from the franchise, failed off screen and was never seen again trope. And that got a ton of attention. Thank you so much. And I also did a parody video a couple weeks ago about the whole matter and, what it must sound like from Hollywood continuously blaming men for these failures of these movies. Basically,
Yeah. So I'm just laying it out. She's done a couple of videos on this. She made a parody video where she pretended to be Hollywood, saying our movies failed because of men, because they made anti-male content, and then men were like they told men don't watch your stuff if you don't, if you don't like it, and men were like okay, and they didn't, even though like even the failed movies, if you look at the data on like who went, it was still majority men that went to watch them, of the
Mm.
few that did. So it
Yeah.
was still men that gave you money, just the simps that were willing to give you money regardless of them, you shitting in their mouth or in their eyes if for a
Well, they
movie.
thought, okay, let's be fair. Like, I bet those guys, the more liberal guys, they thought they were doing something for women. And let's be frank, if you say to men, this is for women, 99.5% of men will be like, oh, I will do that. Right.
Yes, yes. No,
So
it's
it's like,
true.
it's
I
not,
mean,
it's,
that's still simping, but yes, that's what they're
yeah,
doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they're doing. But it's like, I have trouble. Yeah. Okay. Guys, don't do that. Have some self respect, but I understand why you do it. Like, I'm not going to be
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a horrible, you are horrible people. Just respect yourselves. In fact, why don't you just look in the mirror and say, I'm a person who does actually care about men. I should stop listening to people who say I don't. Or sorry, I am a person who cares about women. I should stop listening to people who say I don't, right? Who start the conversation by presuming the worst of me as a man. Just do that. Just allow your desire to help women inform your understanding of who you are, and stop listening to people who say because you're a man you hate women. Just do that. Try that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. So she mentions the article we just read in this video. So
about just how many times men in movies these days are portrayed as abusive, weak, or absent as this brand new stereotype, and how they even do a chart about how disproportionate it is the amount of times that men have been portrayed this way.
So here's a chart. Do you see it, Allison? Negative portrayals of men in cinema versus reality. 95% in films. 95% of men in
Wow,
films.
that's quite a change from what I remember.
And then
You know, I
in
have
reality, it's like 2% in
4%. Yeah.
complaints and 4% survey self-admission.
And women's numbers are similar, honestly. So yeah. So we're basically just portraying men as being defined in these very negative ways by human evil, and then we're also saying that human evil isn't human evil, it's actually men's evil. So it's a double whammy. But yeah.
Yep. All right.
Okay. Actually, guys,
versus
What?
okay, I actually wanted to do a shout out. Okay, so this is what you got to do, guys. All right, go to feedthebadger.com. You can go to feedthebadger.com/products/keep-Alison-sane, or you can just send in a super chat or super chow and do it for Tangled. Say it in the super chow. I am doing this for Tangled. I'm doing this for you, bro, in the hopes that you will eventually see the light. Do it for Tangled, guys. Feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Just go to just the tip so you can put in a message. Do it. Somebody do that. $5. All right, let's go.
All right.
The actual statistics behind how many times men are guilty of crimes or abuses in real life. And they also showed like how movies with these kinds of depictions of men are actually more likely on a scale to get awards at.
Yes. So there's
Lord.
male villainy. There's a correlation between male villainy in stories and winning awards. So
That's not just true in video and movies. It's in TV and movies. It's also true in writing.
yeah, literature, right?
Literature, yeah.
Maybe literature is too charitable. Writing.
Yeah. Actually, I call it like mood text, what writing is now.
Mood text. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see the more villainy, the more awards. So
Yep.
there's some examples. I know Barbie, which is it's up there. But I don't know about these other things. Poor Things. I don't know what that is. Anatomy of a Fall, Triangle of Sadness. But yeah, there you go. Portrayal of males as villains. The more likely you are to win an award.
Award season. So now there's incentive to do these stereotypes in films because you're more likely to have a chance to get into award season over it. But it's like this year especially, it's just cropped up. When I see the same stereotype that people said happened in Star Wars and all these Lucasfilm projects, when I see that exact same stereotype happen in Tron, and that is significant because you might be saying, well,
yeah, so she's basically saying that, like, just to cut it short, because her videos are a little, they're unscripted. She's a bit rambly. So
Yeah.
she basically says that there was this trend or this stereotype, she calls it a stereotype, of, a hero from a franchise from, that was a male main character from a franchise that's kind of old, going back to the 70s or the 80s, and they make a newer property or something that's related to the character in some way in the same, fictional universe or whatever, but that male character is completely like just either lost or shit. Like Luke Skywalker is a bum, Han Solo's a bum, Indiana Jones is a bum, Decker from Blade Runner is a bum, they all are absent fathers. They're all of them. I mean, Luke doesn't have kids, but like all the other ones are like
But he did
absentee
in the
fathers. Huh?
extended universe. I guess that
Well,
disappeared.
yes, in the expanding universe that we're never gonna get, yes, but like in whatever J.J. Abrams and Ryan Johnson came up with, yeah, that was just thrown out, and they've just been doing this, you know, and it's like everywhere. It's like she's seeing it so often. They even, I guess, in this new Tron movie that I didn't watch, I wanted to because I like Tron, the first two, but apparently that was just trash, and they did the same thing. The male main character and all the other characters from the original Tron film. And these aren't even like big films. These are kind of like lower budget, or at least like culty followings. They threw that all out and they tried something new with a girl boss main character, and you know, it was just shit. And she was like, you know, this is happening too much for it not to be something intentional. And that's kind of where she's getting at. So
Okay, so
Rocky's not a
guys,
bum. Rocky's not a bum. Well,
so
he's a bum at
Tangled
the
is
beginning, but then he wins. So go ahead. What was that?
Tangled hierarchy tells everyone the channel needs your donations and money. Support them now in my name. So guys, feedthebadger.com/just the tip. I won't send you to the fundraiser. I'm sorry about that. It's screwed up, but feedthebadger.com/just the tip. And a big thank you to Spiky Helmet Badger, because I think he sent through a super chow. Brian, you might want to read it.
Let me see. I Albatross, I already read that one. Oh, it just came through.
Just came through, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anonymous sent us $250 and says, "Sure thing, Tangled." There you go.
There you
Thank
go,
you.
Tangled. Thank you,
Monetize your
Tangled.
haters, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you guys also want to listen to our hater Tangle and put, you know, really, really stick it to him, prove him wrong, I guess, or right, go to feedthebadger.com/just the tip and put in a tip and say, this is for Tangled. This is for Tangled. All right, let's keep going.
All right. Somebody's mad.
Yeah.
All right. Next time code. Well, there's just like the last thing I wanted to talk about is where she drops a word that I really wanted to hear because I thought she was building up to it.
Then you would just remove that. But frankly, it makes all
What?
Tangled's latest message. I fucking hate it when you guys give them money, or maybe I love it. How can you know? I don't know. You're sticking it to something. Tangled may like it though. Tangled may like having it stuck to him.
Well, you know, we're single-handedly creating the gender war. I don't know if you know
exactly.
that.
Right here. It's being manufactured right
here
on
it's
this
being manufactured
slightly obscure
artificially by
YouTube
two
channel.
people in their bedrooms or spare room talking online. We're the one, not the multi-billion-dollar industry that is in every facet of our institutions and our political class and our media class and our education and academia. You know, not those people. No, it's us. It's me in this room.
Yeah, it's Brian,
talking into a webcam. I'm the one doing this.
Yeah.
I'm the one creating all the antipathy. All those girls on TikTok saying they want men with the 4 6s. That's because of me. They saw me and they were like, well, I'll show him. I'll demand that men have insane standards they couldn't possibly meet. And I'll do it online to spite Brian because he's like creating problems. That's what you sound like.
This reminds me of that one feminist shelter operator who he's like CEO in some place in some state in the US. And she basically talked about how she opened this shelter. And at the end she's like, I did this just to spite those men's rights activists who say there are no shelters for men. And I'm like, well,
you showed me.
You showed me, but also you guys, that shelter exists because of us.
Yeah.
I'll take it. You're going to do it to spite me? Just do it. Fine. Like you think that spites me, the fact that there now exists some kind of shelter for men somewhere in the US when they're abused, and you did it to spite people like me?
Well, they think that you're like them and you actually don't want to solve problems. You just want to make money. That's why we're being accused of that.
I'll take it.
Because
Like if
that's obviously I chose the most like the least popular thing to advocate for because I want to get rich quick. I'm playing this on hard mode. I think I'm doing this all wrong. I should advocate for, I don't know, brown people. I could probably make a killing if I did that. I wouldn't even have to prove shit. But anyway, let's get to this last time code.
All of these things unenjoyable to me because I liked that masculinity in these projects. I want to see strong male heroes, and I liked these projects as, you know, male skewing franchises, as a world where the tone would be more masculine. That is what I enjoyed about it. You know, sometimes people say, you know, we just need to have more men working on these projects. And I would say I'm more than willing to have more men work on these projects again. I just think that it's the type of person, though, because I think if I was doing, like, say I had an idea for a Hulk versus Wolverine movie, it'd probably be more masculine because that's just what I enjoyed about those original worlds.
All right, I'm just pausing it there. You know, there are some female directors that can do stuff that men like. I believe that. Oh, I'm forgetting
Romancing the
her
Stone.
name. Huh?
Romancing the Stone.
Was that
That's a
directed by a
female
woman?
director. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of guys who like that. It's sort of a romance, but it's also
I'm thinking
kind
about,
of
is
a
her name
fun film.
Catherine Bigelow?
I don't know,
She
maybe.
did like she does a military movie, Zero Dark 30. I think that's a woman, the director of Zero Dark 30. And yeah, there's definitely some women that can do that
Well,
stuff.
there was a woman who wrote Romancing the Stone. I think there was
Uh
also a woman who directed it. I'll find out in a moment.
all right, all right. Romance of the Stone's good. Kirk Douglas, right? Michael Douglas, rather.
Mhm.
Michael Douglas. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to look that up right now?
Yeah, the director
Um,
was Rupert Zemeckis, and the screen was written by Diane Thomas,
there you go.
a Malibu waitress whose script was discovered and bought by producer Michael Douglas. Romancing the Stone was her only produced screenplay. She tragically died in a car accident in 1985,
Oh,
shortly after the film's success. Yeah, that is an awe. That's really
yeah.
unfortunate.
It's
But yeah,
it's always sad when that happens.
yeah, there was a time when women could do really good writing and directing, and writing in novels too. It was a time when publishing and Hollywood wasn't just a boys' club; it was also upholding the standards of good craft, which
Hmm.
was something that, again, I hate to tell you, but feminists came out against good craft. I have a story, a personal story. I've said this before. My mother used to help edit, or was the editor of a feminist zine in the 70s. And she insisted that people who were submitting stuff to the zine would, have to abide by grammar, punctuation, and rules of content, so not meandering, not stuff like that. Oh, my I think I have died. My phone
What?
has
Oh
died. Just give
no,
me a second.
Allison.
Oh
Well,
no,
wait. I
I
can
have
still hear
died.
you. I can still hear you, but your
Yeah, you can
camera's
still
all
hear me.
blurry. Yeah, I
I
can still
can
hear you.
I can change to this maybe. All right. So anyway, so I was talking about, it's like shaky cam. Looks a little bit worse. But I'll step back so I'm not touching it. But so my mom was an editor of a feminist sign, and she insisted on like good grammar and other aspects of writing craft, and she got drummed out because that was patriarchal. So if you're wondering where writing craft went, it also went when feminists started to take control of this, because they don't want to have any standards that they have to be held to, any external standards. Everything that a woman does, or at least a feminist woman, not all women, because obviously the things that I do are wrong, but anything that a feminist woman does is perfect. She shits
Hmm.
diamonds. She cries pearls. Her menstrual blood is rubies. Like, she's, everything that comes out of feminist women is absolutely perfect, exactly the way it is. And if you disagree, you're a misogynist. And you hate women. Even if what's coming out of a feminist woman is a fist in her girlfriend's face, you hate women if you're saying that's bad. You just got to let it happen. You just got to let them abuse their girlfriends, right? Because otherwise you'd be criticizing women, feminists, which are synonymous. You'd be criticizing them. See, this is why it would terrify me to live in any kind of feminist-run hellhole.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't be able to criticize the abuser. If it was all woman, you wouldn't be able to criticize the abusers because you'd be criticizing women. You'd be saying that women do things that patriarchy does. Right? And you can't do that. All right. I'm done.
So I got a super chow and then I got a comment. Well, I got a couple super chows. So Richard Bier gives us $20 on super chow, or $50, and says this is for Tangled hierarchy because Tangled is too cheap to donate. By the way, do you know the significance of December 20th, 2027?
I do not.
Alison?
Please
Yeah,
tell
I
me.
don't know. That seems like a weird, rare reference.
Rare reference. I look forward to finding out.
Yeah, really obscure.
Mhm.
And then laptop 215, for some reason it didn't show up in my live thing, but that's okay. Gave us $5 and says at Tangle Hierarchy, they're allowed to ask, we are allowed to give, they are allowed to make their pitch. Thank you, laptop, appreciate it. So the person that I was thinking of, the female director, she's done a lot of pretty manly movies.
Mm.
And then Jezebel is basically saying that, yeah, it'd be great, you know, like I'm fine with men making movies, but like it's more of a mindset thing that she's saying, you know, and I think that's true too. Actually, I think that's more true. So there's the director I'm thinking of is Catherine Bigelow, and Catherine Bigelow's done a lot of really good movies. She's made The Loveless, which came out in 1981 with Willem Dafoe. She made Near Dark, which is a vampire Western horror. That sounds cool as shit. I'll have to look that one up. Blue Steel with Jamie Lee Curtis. You guys may have heard of that. Rookie cop stalked by a killer. Point Break, one of my favorites, with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze, where you know, Keanu Reeves is an FBI agent, and Anthony Kiedis of the Red Hot Chili Peppers is in that movie as well. I don't know if people know that, but he totally is he's in the movie. Strange Days, which was written by James Cameron but directed by Catherine Bigelow, with Ralph Fiennes and Angela Bassett. That's another good movie. The Weight of Water, K-19, The Widowmaker, Cold War submarine thriller with Harrison Ford and Liam Neeson. The Hurt Locker, which is the one, it won, I think, Best Picture and Best Director, but that was an Iraq War drama with Jeremy Renner from the Marvel movies. And Zero Dark 30, which I mentioned. So yeah, that's a woman, and those are all pretty, like Point Break is a pretty badass movie, man. So just throwing it out there. But okay, let me get back to this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want people to understand and be clear about this. This is misandry, what is happening in these movies. This is following the ideology that every man is guilty from the day he is born of all these awful things. He has a masculinity to him that is dangerous, that needs to be quelled, that needs to be subdued. Like, even in Film Industry Watch, that are.
So there, she said misandry. She says misandry, but she said it. I think that's awesome. Don't you guys think that's a win?
Yes, it is. It is a win. No, you know, I don't expect her to be a hardened warrior. Although, again, if she really wants to stick to her guns on this, it's going to be hard. Like, she's going to get a lot of shit. It is not something that is popular.
I mean, I think she just wants entertainment to be good.
Yes,
that's like
well, that's the
that's the
thing.
impetus. Yeah, I know.
That's the thing. Like, you're not allowed to even want that. Like, that's what my story is about. What the hell does good grammar have to do with patriarchy? You're not allowed to want good things. You're not allowed to expect good things for yourself. We're in the feminist era now. Feminism is going to take away everything that makes you happy, and you need to thank feminism for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's the air we breathe.
Exactly.
All right.
Article I was talking about, they talked about some reviewers who have spoken about these movies that are stereotyping men in a negative way and talking about how this is what every man in real life needs to learn, that he is guilty in some.
The message is that every man is guilty, if not of rape, then of complicity or willful ignorance, and it's the women who bear the pain and seek justice, writes one reviewer in summary of I don't know what film, but a film's
All of them.
provocations.
All
What?
of them at this point. All
Yeah,
of
all of
them at
them.
this
All
point.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and again,
Um,
as I always like to bring up, this is a lie. There is no way you can assert this now. The CDC has blown this out of the water. There is no way they could have found parity 3 years in a row for the last year numbers, and there actually to be significant asymmetry in perpetration of rape, sexual assault, even probably harassment. So this is not a man's issue. This is not a male ill. This is a human ill. And this is an astounding finding because it totally changes what we understand of ourselves. And we can't embrace this new knowledge of what it is to be human because somebody wants to scapegoat boys and men to make money. And the collateral damage just people like Jester Bell is feeling because the collateral damage of this scapegoating is good fiction, good stories. Right? But that's just
mhm.
collateral. Your collateral damage in this war that we have been fighting for several decades now, some of us. Right? This is collateral damage. And if you want to ever get to the point where you have good stories again, you got to stand up at this point. Like there's no two ways about it. You got to stand up for your right to be entertained. All right.
All right. Last time code.
I want to talk about the real world implications of it. And I was very, very affected by this a couple years ago. But, for a couple years past, I've seen more and more of a rise of men out there who are becoming openly misogynistic. And they're becoming, more comfortable with saying very negative things and very negative stereotypes and caricatures about women. And once again, I was very affected by that and defensive about that as I saw it rise. But here's the truth about that. There is a reason why men are being pushed in that direction. And I'm not
So, okay, she started off with that, but she's before you freak out, let's listen to some more.
condoning
Yeah.
it. I'm not saying it's right, but I am understanding what is the effects of it. Now, the more that you push these negative stereotypes and caricatures about men, the more effect that it is going to take. And the more that you remove these positive male icons, the more effect that it is going to take. Now, obviously, it's going to be more of an influence on a person of what is happening in real life. What relationship did they have with their parents? What kind of friends did they have? What is their relationship and influences in real life? But make no mistake, media and entertainment definitely have an effect on it. So what I see happening is that
I'm just pausing it there because I know that, we gotta like comment on things.
And
So
we also got more super chaz, I think.
we do? Why am I
Yeah.
not getting them in here? Oh, okay.
Um,
Art Fours gives us $313.37. I see what you did there. And says LOLCAL Preservation Fund. There it is. Now it showed up a little bit late. It was a little delayed, but
I'm not sure what Tangled is doing at this point. I'm like, I thank you, Tangled. I really appreciate it. Like, I
yeah.
don't know why you're doing this for us, but it's awesome. Big thank you to Tangled Hierarchy. One of our big haters today
Appreciate it.
was
Appreciate the help.
spending an hour shilling us in the chat. So just big thank you to Tangled. Good luck to you out there, sir, in your very strange meanderings. I hope your walkabout does you good. Okay, let's
Mhm.
next one.
All right. Well, this is the last one, but let me play a little bit more of it.
the more that these kinds of poisonous ideas have been pushed out there and these negative stereotypes and caricatures about men and this misandry, like, whenever you talk down to someone, whenever you put down somebody for just how they were born or whatever group they're a part of, whenever you do that enough, eventually that group is going to want to revolt. And I see three outcomes for this.
Okay, I'm just pausing it there. So she's, I think, rightfully noticing that this could be a problem. I think she's late to the party, but that's
Mhm.
fine.
Well,
You know,
everyone's late to the
whatever.
party, right? It only happens
Yeah.
once you go into the pain. This is what I'm talking about, guys. I remember like 6 years ago, I talked about the pain that every one of us has had some kind of pain that's gotten us to this side of the chasm of men's issues. Now, it's different for everyone. For me, it's the pain of the absolute state of lying that feminists engage in. I absolutely hate deception. That just bugs the hell out of me. I can't live with it. That's the pain that got me. And other people have different pains. It may be intellectual, it may be emotional, it may be having lost your kids, but that's what gets you on this side of the chasm. Now, people like Jester Bell are feeling the pain because feminism comes for all. It comes for all life and love and goodness and craft in the world. It comes for all of it. It wants to turn everything into scapegoating men to make money for feminism. And you look, that sounds like hyperbole, but look at what it's done. It's turned academia into scapegoating men to make money for feminism. It's turned movies into scapegoating men to make money for feminism. Me Too, scapegoating men to make money for feminism. Cartoons, scapegoating men to make money for feminism. On and on and on. It consumes everything into itself like a black hole, and it leaves nothing for anybody else. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Essentially
No,
propaganda against men.
What?
actually, Tangled Hierarchy, I think he just left himself.
No,
I don't think.
he got timed out by Shaman King.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he timed him out, so I guess he'll be back.
Yeah. Well, depending on how long the timeout is.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like nobody's gonna miss him. Ah.
Ah, well.
No, actually, it's
Number
40%.
one,
40% will miss him. It's actually
Okay, so
half.
she's saying that there'll be three reactions, okay?
Mhm.
That from men. Let's hear those and that'll be it.
maybe you get men who buy into this. Maybe they become like Paul Mescal, who's just bought into this idea that subdued masculinity is good. Maybe you get some of that. Maybe you get some men who are tired of being put down and made the bad guy, and they just want to check out of everything. Or maybe there's the third option where you get men who are so fed up with being made the bad guys and being told that they are failures and having, and that they will become failures. And once again, this is even affected by having these male icons be torn down and having masculine heroes be taken away. Then that's how the promotion of actual toxicity can become appealing, because once again, when a group gets put down enough, they want to revolt. The end goal of a lot of this might not be that men merely become subdued.
All right. She's repeating herself. So basically, and I think these are her three conclusions. One, they're gonna like try to go along with it. They'll be those guys that paid for the Marvels because they want to please women, because they want to reinvent their masculinity,
Mhm.
because they're like Pedro Pascal. And that's it. Those guys exist, and that's going to be a part of it. I think it's going to be a minority though, because even
Mhm.
those guys are going to have their limits. Then there's going to be the guys that just check out. I think that's most of them. They're just going to be like, nope, I'm not doing this. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to go over here. Of course, they're not really like, if they go into something else, they're not necessarily safe from this. So they're going to have
Mhm.
to like take a stand at some point, because if you're like, well, I'm not watching movies, I'm playing video games now. Well, guess what, buddy?
Yeah,
They're in
they're
your video
coming.
games. I'm going to read books. Guess what, buddy? They're in your books. Like there's no
They've
escape.
been for a while.
I want to listen to music. Unless you're going to go buy like classic rock or something, or you're only going to read old books, or you're only going to play retro games or something, or watch old movies, you're not getting away from this. And that, even then, they can always go back in and be like, like what film, I believe that Netflix and Disney Plus have already taken movies and they've altered them, like old movies, and they've altered them for modern audiences, right? They change the language around, they cut scenes out, I watched Legend the other day with Lindsay, Legend with Darkness and Tom Cruise. And it was like, it was edited so badly. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I had to explain, oh, there was a scene that was supposed to be here, but it's not here for some reason. So, yeah, checking out is going to be the second group. And the third group are guys that are just going to be, they're just going to be assholes. Oh, this is what you think I am? Okay, that's what I'm going to be. And that's where you're going to get your, Genghis Khan types. And I'm frankly okay with it. So
I'm going to just drop out and come back really quickly because I'm going to see if I can get my camera working properly because this shaky cam is a little bit annoying.
Okay. So anyway, that was basically the last time code. So I don't know if Alex is going to come back or not, but let's see. Looking at what you guys are saying. Allison's back. Yeah, that was the last time code, Alison. So
okay. All right. So the title promised 7 ways that what is our freaking title? Tell me the title. I was like
7 ways Hollywood wages war on men.
Okay, so I have a list. A listicle. Ugh, that's a horrible word. Who invented listicle? That's like, I don't know.
BuzzFeed, I assume.
Yeah. Okay, why is this not working? I had a whole freaking list. Yeah, all right, here we go. Hopefully it comes up. Yep, I see text. Good. All right. Okay. From 1. Actually, should I go from 7 to 1? By the way, guys, if you were in the chat, I have a poll. Will you miss Tangled Hierarchy? Actually, I think it's done. No, is it done?
It stays up till you end it.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to end it, but just click
you can just click on it and end
yeah,
it.
no, I got it. So far, it's no. That's 61%.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a loyal but small fan base here, Tangled. So there you go. Also, I thank you. Not sure what you were proving by chilling us so desperately, but thank you. And thank you to everybody who participated with that. And here we go. I'm going to do the listicle once I get it back up. All right. Should I go from 7 to 1? Oh, you have it. Do you want to do it?
Sure.
Instead of my squeaky squirrel voice, you can do it. Should we go 7 to 1?
Yeah. So 7 ways Hollywood wages war on men. Number 7, creating the toxic men they fear. So when men are constantly told they're failures, mocked on screen, and stripped of heroic models, they don't all become gentle saints. They either check out, submit, or get angry and lean into the very toxic behavior the culture claims to fear. The same media that preaches against toxic masculinity is, in practice, pushing boys into bitterness and resentment by removing positive masculine icons and replacing them with caricatures and accusations. Of course, if they do embrace that, then feminists get to say, look, see, we told you. So it's kind of like creating the problem so that they can point at the problem. So that's number 7. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, or do you want me to just go up to number 6?
Let me see. I think that's a very unlikely occurrence, but yes.
Well, that's why it's at the bottom of the list.
Oh yeah, it's number 7. Yeah, it comes in at the very bottom because it's really unlikely. The greatest likelihood is that men will opt out of.
Mm-hmm.
They'll take the Canadian healthcare route, shall we say, and very few men will actually become violent, and a significant but not very sizable number of men might get a bit irate on social media. They might actually gasp, blame women. Gasp. Oh my God. Saints preserve us. It's the sign of the end times.
Number 6. Masculinity equals guilty by default. A lot of current storytelling treats maleness itself as something dangerous that must be subdued. The message is that every man carries built-in guilt that needs to be re-educated out of him. Reviewers even praise films that stereotype men harshly as lessons all men must learn, turning masculinity from a potential strength into an automatic indictment.
Yep.
Yep. You were born male, therefore you are a problem to be fixed. Men, what is it? Men are the problem. Men don't have problems. Men are the problem.
Which is really
Um,
interesting because I remember a while back I was trying to watch this like Western noir show, which was about like some kind of satanic ritual abuse cult. And it was really bothering me that all of the men in the story were either evil or anti-heroes. And I actually brought it up in the Discord. And the guys I brought it up to were like, no, it's okay. I'm fine with that. And the reason why was because it was the men punishing the men who were evil. And the women were mostly like victims and they were seen as being less capable, I guess, or something. So even though the men were anti-heroes, they were the only ones who could really go toe to toe with the male villains. And it's like
mhm.
men seem to be okay, they're okay with these very harsh depictions of men, as long as it's also depicted that men are the ones who police the evil men, if that makes sense. So I was like, that's interesting. Um, so it's an interesting thing that says something about men because they are interested in stories, even if they're villains in these stories, men are depicted as villains in these stories. They're interested in watching the process of those villains being held accountable by other men who are heroic, and that appeals to them. Whereas I don't think that appeals to women at all. It doesn't appeal to women the story of a woman holding a bad woman accountable. The only story that comes to mind is actually a Glenn Close, like, that's an actress, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Fatal
and sh
Attraction.
No, not Fatal Attraction. It was actually a recent story where she was a British, general of some kind,
Mhm.
and she was dealing with doing a hit on a female terrorist, like a former British national who'd become a female terrorist in the Middle East. And she had to make accommodations for potential civilian casualties, but she was weighing all of the moral costs of basically killing another woman who was a villain.
Yeah.
And she eventually did actually kill her, but at the cost of killing a completely innocent girl. And that was an interesting story, but you don't see a lot of stories like that. 'Cause it's not stories that appeal to women for whatever reason. For whatever reason, women don't like the thought of holding other women to account in these kind of moral passion plays. The altruistic punishment is not something that interests them. It's something that
Mhm.
interests me. Like, I really like that movie, I'll never forget it. But it's not something that interests a lot of women, apparently. Anyway, that's my little segue. Let's go on
All
to
right.
number 7.
Number 5, No
5.
Heroes for Boys. Past generations of boys had clear male-led adventure series built around virtue and courage, animated heroes, action leads, and science fiction protagonists they could latch onto. Today, the big corporate brands have systematically torn down those figures without replacing them, leaving a vacuum where an entire generation of boys has no mainstream masculine hero aimed at them at all. And by the way, it's not just about, just to add to this really quick, it's not just about seeing a character and then just like, you know, wanting to just be like them or feeling seen. That's not really the thing. I think that the reason why these matter to boys is that it's actually because they share them with their friends, with their peer group. All the boys like the same things and they all talk about it and they all, examine it and they speculate and they compare and they get into like the systems, involved and stuff. And it's a girl brand because it doesn't do that. It gets into like, I don't know, the relationship dynamics instead.
Mhm.
That's just something I noticed, like one of the reasons why I mean, I was too old for Harry Potter, but I knew a guy who his wife and him read the books and he was like, I couldn't get into Harry Potter. And I was like, why? He's like, because I don't understand the magic system. And even though Harry Potter was probably written not with girls in mind specifically, but it was popular with boys and girls. But he was more of a systems thinker. He liked shows like Star Trek where you could talk about the science even if it was a little far-fetched, right? He actually didn't like Star Wars because it was more fantasy, and he didn't like the fact that none of this stuff worked. And so he would sit with his buddies and they talk about like all of the interesting lore and mechanics going on that made the stories feel real. And that's the thing about the way boys absorb media that's different from girls. And so when they say that you're not getting any heroes, it's not just the characters, it's like the world itself is made with boys in mind, so that there's a lot they can talk about and analyze. It's how boys get lost in worlds. It's how they get lost in comics, because they look at like how do the powers work, and like what would happen in this scenario, like what's the science behind that, right? And I mean, yeah, obviously there are girls that can do that too, but I think it's like a boy thing. I'm just adding to that. So
Yeah, I'm sorry.
what, are
Tangled
you
is
distracted?
yeah, I'm distracted by
Okay.
Tangled in the
Well, I'm gonna try and get through this list because I want to eat. So
yeah.
number 4, Misandry wins awards. Critics and festivals increasingly reward films that show men as abusers, cowards, or absent fathers at rates that don't match real world statistics, but do match current ideological fashion. When motives that humiliate or vilify men are more likely to be praised and win prizes, studios get a clear message: keep stereotyping men negatively if you want prestige, and forget about balanced, aspirational male heroes.
Okay,
Number, oh yeah,
I
go
gotta
ahead.
get in here. I gotta give a thanks. Uh, Thank you to Hyper Chicken for $100 to the fundraiser. We're now at 425, which we were at 0 when this started. So
Wow.
yeah, like I'm not exactly sure what Tangled thinks he's doing, but
Yeah.
I'm
All right.
not
Well, I
sure.
think
But
he's helping.
yeah, he's
Okay.
helping. He's helping people he apparently hates. So or maybe he doesn't hate us. Maybe he secretly really likes us,
Hmm.
Who knows? No, Brian
Yeah, man.
doesn't believe that. Too many insults from Tangled to believe that. But no, yeah, he's
I mean, he's just impotently screeching in the chat. So
yeah, I know.
I'm
So
not
if you would
really,
like
I'm
to
not really distracted by that.
no, I'm actually finding it hilarious. Like I'm not sure what he's trying to accomplish, but he is accomplishing it. So
Hmm.
anyway, that is we have another like 500 for this fundraiser. So if you want to help out, it is feedthebadger.com/projects/keep-Alison-sane. And you can join our very generous supporters and do what Tangled is trying to tell you to do in the chat for some reason. Okay, let's do it. Let's go.
Number
Next
3,
one.
men, idiots or monsters. Research shows audiences overwhelmingly feel men are pushed to two extremes: the bumbling, useless dad or the hyper-violent predator. Instead of the competent, decent male lead, boys are fed a steady diet of male characters who are either pathetic punchlines or dangerous threats, with almost nothing in between that they can actually respect or want to grow into.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm really like I'm with Jester Bell. I'm tired. I want to watch some heroes, male heroes or male anti-heroes kicking ass, right? I don't want to see any more girl bosses. I am it upsets me that I am now paranoid about the interesting female characters who did stuff in previous eras. Like that annoys me. And I would like Hollywood to go back to cool male characters that do stuff that is cool. Okay?
Yep.
All right.
All right. Number 2, deleting masculinity. Modern films don't just change bad masculinity, they flatten masculinity altogether. So every male lead feels soft, insecure, unsure, and strangely weightless. Even stories that should drip testosterone, like gladiators, superheroes, or space warriors, now treat masculine strength as inherently suspicious. So the men feel neutered and the worlds around them lose that old energy boys and men used to connect with. Yeah, I heard that the Gladiator 2 movie, which I had like I don't even know why it exists. I heard that it like did that to the masculinity of that, because the original Gladiator was manly as fuck, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that
we
was
just
just
watched it.
gone. You
Oh,
watched
we just
Gladiator 2?
we watched Gladiator 1 and then we watched Gladiator 2 within 2 days of each other. And yes, it is. She also is upset at Gladiator 2. Like
Yeah.
I think she would go even further to say it was completely stripped of all masculinity. I don't necessarily think it
Oh
was
yeah,
stripped.
put Pedro Pascal in it. I mean,
What the hell is that?
that's
It's
all I
not.
needed to know. I mean, when I heard he was going to be in it, I was like, nah. I'm like
Yeah.
an old ass Denzel Washington. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
good.
I did watch it, and I would say that the real problem is that they don't understand the original. Like the
No,
original story was
it was the
basically
same director.
I,
Like it's Ridley Scott. How could he not know his own work? I don't know. Ridley
his
Scott's just
brain has been infected by a parasite. But
yeah.
okay, so the original story, you have this Roman general who's at the top of his game, okay, and he's about to go home to his family. It's like the tempting fate right there, and he has this interaction with his emperor, and Marcus Aurelius, the classic stoic good emperor. And Marcus is telling him about his fears for the future of Rome and his vulnerabilities around his own legacy. And during this interaction, Marcus Aurelius also says that he wants Maximus, that is Russell Crowe's character, to inherit the throne of Rome. And Commodus, his son, finds out about this, goes and attempts to kill Maximus, fails because Maximus is that badass. And then he goes and kills Maximus's family, and that starts the process. Maximus nearly dies, gets captured by a bunch of slavers, ends up as a gladiator. But when he's initially in the gladiator school, he doesn't want to fight because he's deep within his own misery about having lost his family. And it's a hero's journey. He has to actually learn to live up to the vulnerability that Marcus Aurelius gave him, and that desire of Marcus Aurelius for him to right what went wrong in Rome, right? And so he has to live up to that call to adventure. So it's a proper hero's journey. And so his motivations sort of change throughout the story based on the hero's journey. First, he's like on the top of the game. He wants to defeat the Germans. And then he wants to save his family. He loses his family. He becomes apathetic. And he goes through a process of relearning that sense of honor and justice and service to something higher than himself. And then he goes back and he kills Commodus and is killed by Commodus. And, Marcus Aurelius his justice is done and his honor is reestablished. That's nowhere in the original story. Nowhere.
You mean
There
nowhere in
isn't
the sequel?
nowhere in the sequel is that kind of sense of honor and living up to a standard beyond yourself. The man has a girl boss wife. He takes her to war against the Romans. The inevitable happens and she dies because she looks like a nail technician, let's be honest. She like these bows at that time, drawback weight. Well, for in the Roman army, the drawback weight was 80 pounds, and that's light. For other armies, it was like 120. There's no way a woman can do that bow, can function with a war bow. There's no way. And she has toothpicks for arms. So she dies. He doesn't even mourn. It's like 2 minutes later and he's laughing with the other slave gladiators. And it's like, what is this? And then
Mhm.
he just sort of floats through the story. And they sort of try to redo the original beats of Gladiator, but none of them hit because it doesn't have the spine of that emotional journey that Maximus went through. Because I don't know, the director lost his brains between then and now. He doesn't understand the hero's journey anymore. He doesn't understand mentorship between men and honor between men and respect between men. He doesn't understand any of that. The guy just floats. And then eventually he's like, oh, I'm a son of Rome. I guess I need to champion this thing I've been fighting this entire time. No values, no principles. And this is something I've noticed with these male characters when they have to have one. They go back, they're like, oh wow, we gotta have a male character because people are pissed off and they want male characters. And what they do is they create these male characters that there's nothing in them. They're completely hollow. There's
Mhm.
no understanding of sacrifice and justice and honor. There's no sense of like earning things like Rand in Wheel of Time, Rand L4, the Wheel of Time TV show. He doesn't earn anything, and he's completely insulated from consequences. It's like nothing really happens to him, or nothing really affects him. And it's like when they're forced to make a male MC, they're starting to write them the way they write their female MCs, that they're completely insulated from consequences, and they don't earn anything, and they don't have any logical, emotional, interior arcs based on honor and sacrifice and justice and higher principles like the dream of Rome. It's infuriating.
Yep.
So they're just man in name only.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good way to put it. All right, number 1. From hero to failure. Over and over, legacy male leads are rewritten as failures so a brand new character can walk in and take their place, usually a woman.
Mm-hmm.
A replacement that inherits the story without earning it. This isn't one or two franchises. From space operas to science fiction reboots, the old male hero is killed off or sidelined or turned to a loser, so the new lead can look strong by comparison, not through real heroism, but through his humiliation. And they literally just pick up the mantle and they just carry on with it. They don't earn it, nothing like that. And there's countless examples. And I think it's killed franchise. Like they're like people are talking about trying to bring back Bond, but they killed him last and they replaced him with a woman in the last movie. So they're gonna have to literally pretend like that never happened. And do you think you're gonna piss people off that like the idea of killing Bond off and replacing him with a woman? That's just one example. There's countless examples. So yeah, that's really big because I think that is number 1 because it's like it was in the substrate. It was in the foundation of our culture. These characters, and I mean, there were women characters in there too, but the female ones get to remain. The male ones are the ones that were excavated, dug up, and replaced.
Well, the
So
female characters also don't have these principles. Like they're like she
no, they
started.
don't because they're altered by extension, but they weren't. I don't know if it was intentional to sort of like flatten the female characters, but when you do this to the male characters, you affect the female ones,
Yes. Yeah, that's
by
you don't
extension.
benefit women by throwing men under the bus. You only benefit feminism. Let's be honest. Right? Okay, so this is she started by complaining about female characters, and her complaints about female characters are spot on too. Because what's happened is female characters in stories are no longer allowed to endure stakes, like
Hmm.
to suffer, to earn, to be judged, to do things wrong. So they're so boring. It's why all the male characters, when they are written, are actually more interesting. When they are present, even the male villains are more interesting. The only way they can get rid of the fact that men are more interesting is to make them completely incompetent. And even then, they're often more interesting in their incompetence because things happen to them. But yeah, so this is I'm a little bit worried about Tangled. Like, how are you writing so fast? It's a little obsessive. But anyway, so it's
Yeah.
like this is even the female characters are just I honestly I think they're worse. And the worst thing that's happened is they've taken the same problems that they have with the female characters. Now they're hollowing out the male characters and injecting those problems into them. And it's like this is just unbearable. Oh, because it is like the writing itself is so lacking in any depth. It's all just and again, like it's like they've constructed these characters, they judge their own actions, which creates a narrative black hole. And then when they put that on, then when everybody's like, we need male characters, they do that to the male characters. And they destroy them too. Okay, just I think whoever's writing these stories just needs to stop. Just stop.
That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, just stop.
doing that.
Just stop doing it. Just
Yeah.
you don't know how to write. You need to stop. You need to spinge the ideology out of your brains. That'd be a good start to learning how to write. And then come back to it with some you need to practice for a while and then maybe come back. You need like a montage. All right.
Yep. All right, I got a super chat from Richard. For
Another one.
100. Yeah,
Oh.
Richard Bier gives 100 and says, Tangled Hierarchy, if you put a penny in a jar every day for a year, you'll have $36,500 to donate to HBR. If you put a quarter in a jar every day for a year, then you could have $10,000 to give to HBR. What? Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Think too hard about
I'm not
the
gonna
logic.
think about it too hard. It's
Don't
fine.
don't. I'm sure Tangled is really gonna think hard about the logic though. All right.
Richard Bier gives us $50 and says SPQR.
Yes.
Okay.
SPQR.
All right. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm good too. I'm hungry.
Yep.
I'm about
Same.
ready. I'm just gonna make sure we've thanked everybody. Okay, no, this is all right. Okay, this is it's gotten a little confusing because we got quite a bit of stuff coming in. Yeah, I think we've thanked everyone. Yes, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, if you want to join our very generous supporters, it is feedthebadger.com/project/keep-Alison-sane. I will fix the support link. I'm sorry about that, guys. I think somebody attempted early and then it just started throwing errors. That's my fault. I'll try to fix it. And if you want to send a message with a tip, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Very much appreciated for everybody who kept this long. And Tangle, just go take a nap. Maybe have a sippy cup and some tendies. You need to calm down. Go get your blankie. All right, but thank you. I mean, very much appreciated. I'm not exactly sure what you were proving to yourself. At one point, you said you have more principles than to do what we do. But what is it you're doing here? Your principles have led you to shill for a show that you think is unprincipled. So I think you need a nap to untangle that. All right, back to you, Brian.
All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notification, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. And please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of, well, this is like Red Chill Cinema. That's what I called it. And we'll talk to you guys in the next one.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.